Morning, y'all. Um, so, um, Hope everybody's doing okay. I just wanted to go over a few things, at least with the syllabus for this week, because I had some questions last week, so I'll at least break everything down just to show you what's going on this week for algebra. And then we'll get started on the first set of notes, which is going to be the multiplying and factoring polynomials note sheet, which I believe was the second set of notes that I posted in Google Classroom if you'd like to follow along. If not, that's okay. You could still at least watch along and then record it later, or if you don't want to record it, that's fine, because if you have the packets, I think they gave you the note key already. And that's what's already posted in the syllabus. So what I'm going to do is that anything that's in green is going to be notes or guided practice, so things that do not need to be turned in. So for the first part, the guided practice with key is going to be just something if you need to go over some of the 8.3 review. And there's a key involved in that as well. Followed by in part 2, so you can choose one of the following. You can either watch the 2 videos that were already posted along with or you could just read along with the notes. And if you'd prefer, you could also use the stream as supplement as well. And then we have 2 guided practice. You only need to pick one of these. You do not need to do both. So you can either do 10 problems in IXL, or you can do 1 through 23 odd, which I'm going to work through some of those as well. These are just to kind of help you to make sure you're understanding the material and that you are good to go. I'm going to re-highlight that because I do not like how much was covered, so I'm going to just do that one more time. So one is part 1, the first one. Choose one of the following, so either watch the videos or read. And then in guided practice, it's going to be choose one of the following as well, so you can either do the 10 problems here or the 1 through 23 odd only there. There is a key with the second one, so you could just check your answers very quickly there. And then I'm going to scroll down just a second to show you. There's also access to materials that you may need. There's the notes, there's the formula sheet, and the calculator. Honestly, I think just the notes is going to be the only thing you really need for this unit. And then for the things that you need to turn in, I'm going to do in red. So the independent practice, 8.3 independent practice, that is going to be the, I believe, Google form. I'm going to check real quick before I... So in the assignment, it's going to be the quizzes link. I'm sorry. Quizzes link is going to be the one for this practice right here, the 8.3 review. And then you're going to turn in the independent practice. That's the 8.2 multiplying polynomial. And that is going to be just on the paper. You can either use DocHub. You could just write on it and send me a picture via text or email. Or if you're using the packets, you can drop it off when you go to pick up your next week's packet, and they'll scan it in and send it to me that way as well. For the mastery, if you have internet, we're going to do the Google form. You do not need to do the PDF version of that. This is just if you don't have consistent internet, then you would use the PDF to fill that information out. So the 3 things that I highlighted red are the ones you're going to want to turn in. Alright, so I'm going to then go ahead and start with the notes. So for the notes this week, I'm going to start with the multiplying and factoring polynomials. Red and blue. Okay, let's pull this up. Alright, so with multiplying polynomials, we're going to kind of treat it, at least for the monomial and trinomial, we'll treat it like not factoring, I'm sorry, like distributive property. So we're going to distribute the -2g squared into the trinomial. So I'm going to just draw a little arrow real quick. So we're going to distribute here, here, here. So if I was to write this out, I would have negative 2g. Sorry, let me just adjust that real quick. Negative 2g squared times 3g cubed plus negative 2g squared times 6g minus negative 2g squared times 5. And then I'm going to simplify. So negative 2 times 3 is going to be negative 6. G squared times g to the third, we're going to remember back from the law of exponents. If you have, if you're multiplying values of the same base, you're going to add the exponent. So g squared, g cubed, when you multiply those together, you're going to do 2 plus 3, so that's going to be g to the fifth. And just kind of to review that just real quick, so remember that's the same thing as saying g times g for g squared. Then you're going to multiply that again by g cubed, so that's g times d times g, so 3 g's, 4, 5 total. They're all multiplying g 5 times. Or times itself 5 times, I'm sorry. Alright, so then next one, negative 2 times 6 is going to be negative 12. G squared times g, so g squared, so 2 plus the 1 that's right here, that's going to give us g cubed. And then we're going to have the minus, but this is going to change in a second because we'll see. So you have a negative 2 times 5, that's going to give us negative 10, but we already have the minus here, so a double negative makes it a positive 10 g squared. So this would be our answer. Alright. So then on the next one, same concept. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit. So we're going to distribute that in. So 4b is going to be multiplied, multiplied, and multiplied. So 4 times 5, I'm going to do this just a little bit quicker. So 4 times 5 is going to be 20. B times b squared is going to be b cubed. 4 times there's a 1 here, so that's going to be positive 4. And then b times b is going to be b squared. And then 4 times 6 is going to be 24. And don't forget the b. So this would be our answer. Alright, and then so we're going to go to the next one. So again, we're just going to distribute. So negative 7h, 3h squared. I'm just going to draw the one error, but you distribute to each term. Alright, we'll just go ahead. Negative 7 times 3 is going to be negative 21. H times h squared is going to be h cubed. Negative 7 times negative 8 is going to be a positive 56. And h times h is going to be h squared. Then negative 7 times negative 1 is going to be a positive 7h. And just in case I'm moving a little too quick, I'm going to just use a few different colors just to help out with seeing if this helps. Okay, so if I'm going to, again, so 2, oh wow, that's not what I wanted. So 2x times x squared. So it's going to be 2x cubed. 2x times 6x. Negative 6x, I'm sorry. So 2 times negative 6 is going to be negative 12x squared. And then the last one, 2x times 5 is going to be positive 10x. So that would be your answer. So that's all that it takes for multiplying, at least for notes here. We're going to get into a little bit more complicated multiplication when we're multiplying binomials and binomials and binomials and trinomials, but we'll do that in the next note sheet. So we're just doing monomials and trinomials right now. Now we're going to move down to factoring out the greatest common factor, which is going to help us coming shortly when we do division next week and factoring. When you are looking for your greatest common factor, you're looking for something that they have together alike. So if you've already watched the video that was posted earlier, Miss King showed us that we could just factor everything out, just circle everything, which I'm going to go ahead and show again as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out each term to the right over here. So we got 2x4, 10x squared, and negative, we'll just stick with a 6 for right now. Wow, that's a janky 6. So we're just going to ignore the sign for right now, 6x, and then what we're going to do is we're going to write out each of their factors. So the factors of 2x to the fourth is going to be 2x, x, x, x. For 10, we have 2 times 5. Multiplication 2. Those are multiplication symbols, not decimals. So 2 times 5 times x times x. And then for 6, we have 2 times 3 for 6, and then it's just x, so times x. And then we're going to circle what is alike between all three terms. So we have 2, 2, 2. We don't have a 5 in all of them. We don't have a 3, so none of that. But we do have x's in all of them. So I'm going to go whoop, circle those x's. So if I was to factor out the greatest common factor, I would factor out GCF. So the greatest common factor is going to be 2x. So let's pull 2x out. 2x. And then we're going to write what do we have left in each one of those. So we have, in our first term, we have x, x, x. So we have x cubed. Then our next term, we have 5x. And then our last one, we're going to do the minus, and then we're only left with just 3. So minus 3. So our answer would be 2x times the quantity of x cubed plus 5x minus 3. And if we wanted to check that, we would just multiply again just to see. So this is going to be a check over here. I'm just going to write. So a check would be just to multiply it back out one more time. So 2x times x cubed is going to be 2x to the fourth. 2x times positive 5x is going to be 10x squared. And 2x times negative 3 is going to be negative 6x. So does that match up? It does, so that means then we did it right for factoring out the greatest common factor. So again, this was just a check. We're just making sure that this still simplifies out to what we originally had, and we are good to go. So I'm going to circle that. So this is our answer. All right, next one. So I'm going to write out my terms right here to the right. And eventually you won't even need to write out the terms anymore. You'll be able to just do them in your head. So just to write out these terms, we just have 5. Then we have v times v times v times v times v. And then for 10v cubed, we have 2 times 5 times v times v times v. And then we're going to circle what's alike. I'll just use this color so I can use this again. So we got 5. Got a v in each of them, another v in each of them, and another v in each of them. So our greatest common factor is going to be 5v cubed. So we're going to write that out. 5v cubed. And then we're going to write what's left. So for our first time we have vv, so that's v squared. And then in our second term we have 2. So plus 2. And we're good to go. So now I'm going to scroll down to the next one. Alright. So we're going to write out our terms again. So we got 3t squared minus 8. Oh, not thinking this morning. 18. So we have 3 times t times t. And then for 18 we have 2 times 3 times, we could do, I'm just going to factor it out completely. So 2 times 9, which is also 2 times 3 times 3. You could have also done 3 times 6. You would have done 3 times 2 times 3. I just factored it all the way down. We could have just done it to where we just pulled out the 3 because we could see that's alike. And just do 3 times 6. I'm going to circle what we have together. So that's going to be the 3. There's not a t in each of them, so our greatest common factor is just 3. So pull the 3 out. And then write what we're left with. So in our first term, t. So t squared. And for our last one, 2 times 3, which makes 6. So plus, oh, not plus, minus 6. So we got a subtraction symbol up here. And we're good to go. Alright, I'm going to write my terms over here. So we got 4b cubed, 2b squared, and 6b. So we have 2 times 2 times b times b times b. 2 times b times b. And then we have 2 times 3 times b. So what's alike? Well, we got 2's in all of them. And we have a b in all of them. So our greatest common factor is going to be 2b. Pull that out, and then I'm going to underline. We have a like, and let's do it so it's just a different color. So we got 2bb, so that's 2b squared. Our second term, we just have b, so minus 2. And the next term is going to be minus 3. Oh, and you know what? I'm sorry, I forgot the 2b. 2b. Oh, it's not even 2b. What am I doing? Sorry, it's minus b minus 3. That'll be our answer. Alright, and then the next one says finding the greatest common factor and factoring out the monomial factor. So do that again. And eventually, like I said, you'll be able to figure out what factors you can pull out without even having to write out each term. You write it in expanded form, but let's go ahead and do that for right now. So we got 4x cubed, 12x squared, 16x. So we can already see each one of these has a factor of 4 in it, so I'm just going to write 4 this time. 4, 4. That's 4 times 1. This is going to be 4 times 3, 4 times 4. Now we're going to go with the x's. That's going to be x times x times x. X squared is going to be times x, and times x for the last term because there's only one x. Circle our like terms, or that are similar, I'm sorry. So 4's are similar in each of the terms. Then we have an x in each of the terms. So then that means our greatest common factor is going to be 4x. So that's the monomial that we're going to factor out. So I'm going to write 4x. What's left of the first term? Xx. So x squared. The second term, 3x plus 3x minus the last term, we got 4. That would be our answer. And if you wanted to check, you could just go ahead and multiply. So 4x times x squared is going to give us 4x cubed. That matches up. 4x times 3x is going to give us 12x squared. So that matches up. And then 4x times negative 4 is going to give us negative 16x. So that matches up as well. So we're good to go. All right, next one. So 8x squared, 12x. So factors, again, we can see that we have a factor of 4 in both of these. You can do 2. And if you can't, actually, let's do this with it, where if you weren't able to see the factors that were very similar to them, so we could even just expand this. This is 2 times 2 times 2. 12. We can do 3 times 2 times 2. So write all of our factors of it. It's completely factored out. And then we have x of x times x. This one's just 1x. So then you can just circle all that are similar. both of the terms. So we have a 2. And we have another 2. And we have an x and an x. So if I was to simplify that out, 2 times 2 is 4 times x. Give me 1 second now. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. So 2 times 2 is 4 times x, so that's going to be 4x. So our greatest common factor, 4x, that's an equals. Let's pull that out, so that's 4x. And then write what's left. So in our first term, we have a 2x minus, what's left? 3. And then just to check, we're going to multiply. So 4x times 2x, so 4 times 2 is 8. And x times x is x squared, so 8x squared. So good, matches up. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And x, so that matches up. We're good. All right. Next one. Let's do this purple this time. So I'm going to write our terms out. 4d cubed 10d. So our factors are 5d times d times d, and I should put the multiplications there. So for 10, that's 2 times 5 times d. And then circle what's in each term that is similar. So we got a 5 in both and a d in both. So then our greatest common factor would be 5d. Pull the monomial out. And let's write what's left. So we have dd, so we have d squared plus what's left in the bottom, or the second term, that's going to be 2, so plus 2. And just a quick check, 5d times d squared, 5d cubed, 5d times 2, 10d, so it matches up. And then we got our last one. Let's use blue, we'll use this one for this one. 6m cubed, 12m squared, 24m. Alright, each factor. So again, I'm going to write this as completely expanded. I mean, you could even get to the point where you can see that there's a certain factor in both of them. Hint, it's actually this first one right here. There's a 6 in each one of these. So if you wanted to, without even writing these out, you can just factor it completely out with just doing, oh, I can see that there's 6 in both of them, so I can factor out a 6. What else do you notice that's similar between them? The m, so I can pull out the m as well. And then if I pull a 6m out of here, what's left? We're left with m squared because we took one m away. So take one m away from m cubed, you're going to have m squared. If you take a 6, if you factor out a 6 from 12, what are you left with? Remember, this is a minus. So take 6 out of 12. You do 12 divided by 6. You can even do it that way to see what's left. It's 2. If I take an m away for m squared, I'm left with m. If I factor out a 6 from 24, I'm left with 4. If I factor out an m from m, I don't have any more m's, so this would be the answer. And just to check, just in case, you can write out your factors. Again, I'm going to do in completely factored form, so 2 times 3 times m times m times m, 2 times 3 times 2 times m, and then we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times m. Circling what we have alike between both of them, we have a 2 and a 3 and an m. So what is our greatest common factor? Two times 3, 6 times m. So 6m. Does that match up to what we pulled out? Yep. And if we were to check it, just multiply, so 6m times m squared. Let's do this in red. So 6m times m squared is going to be, and this is our check, it's going to be 6m cubed. 6m times negative 2m is going to be negative 12m squared. That matches up. And 6m times negative 4 is going to be negative 24m. Does that match up? Yep. So are we good? Yes. So our final answer is going to be this one. All right. So that was the first set of notes. I'm going to go ahead and go over the next set if you'd like to keep following along. I'm at least going to start it, then I'm going to stop, and then I'll finish up when we have our second stream later today at 1. I'm going to just move over to the next set of notes. And I'm just going to start with the first page, so I'm going to have that up so when we come back at 1. So you'll be good to go. And you can just copy that down at that point if you come in later during the day. Alright, so now we're going to be multiplying a binomial and binomial to start out with, and there's a couple of different methods you can use with this. The method that I'm most familiar with, and that's how I was taught, was the FOIL method. And what is the FOIL method? So it's actually an acronym where the F stands for first, the O stands for outer, the I stands for inner, and then the L stands for last. So notice F-O-I-L, F-O-I-L, so first, outer, inner, last. And what are those representing? So first represents the first terms of that you're multiplying, so 4x and 3x. So 4x times 3x. So 4 times 3 is going to be 12, and x times x is going to be x squared. Outer represents the outer two, so it's the leftmost term and the rightmost term, so 4x and negative 6. So then we're going to multiply those together. So 4 times negative 6, or 4x times negative 6, is going to be negative 24x. Sorry about that. I'm trying to move this so it's a little bit easier for me to write on this. It's not working. Alright, and then inner represents the inner terms, so 2 and 3x, so the insidemost. So the second and third term, technically, if you wanted to number these going from left to right. So we're going to do 2 times 3x. So 2 times 3x is going to be 6x. And then we're going to do the last terms. So technically the last terms in each of the grouping symbols, so positive 2 and negative 6 multiplied together. So 2 times negative 6, and that's going to be negative 12. Now, what do we do at this point? Now we're just going to write them all out. We're going to write them out, and then we're going to simplify. So we have, sorry, I'm trying to be a perfectionist on some of this, and it's just not working for me today. So 12x squared minus 24x plus 6x minus 12, and then we're going to combine. Remember, just like we were adding and subtracting, so we're going to combine things that have the same degree, so we don't have anything else with the same degree of x squared, so it's just going to be 12x squared. Negative 24x can combine with 6x, and we're left with negative 18x. And then negative 12 can't combine with anything else, so it's just negative 12. And this would be our answer. And just to kind of draw this out so you can see this a little bit better with the FOIL method, because I know I kind of just like underlined very quickly with this. So I'll write this as, let's put this. So just again, you have 4x plus 2 times 3x minus 6. So first terms, first, I'm just going to use the FOIL just because writing that might be a little tricky on those. It's going to look kind of weird. So first, and then outer. So there's going to be, these are going to be outer. Let's bounce that up. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So outer. First, outer. Then we have inner. And then we're going to have last. Oh, whoops. Okay, so hopefully that helps visualize it a little bit more. So that's one method, is if you want to just completely lay it out, identifying what's your first, your outer, your inner, your last. If you don't want to do that, you could just do it very quickly with just having it kind of just looking like the distributive property, and you have it all laid out like this. So if I was to use the FOIL method not laid out, so I would focus on first, so 4x times 3x. We could then go plus the outer. So what's the outer? We have 4x times negative 6, so 4x times negative 6. Then we're going to do the inner, so plus 2 times 3x. Then plus the last, so 2 times, I'm just putting parentheses at this point because if we had a different sign, we would use parentheses anyway. So times negative 6. It's a negative. And then we're going to simplify. 4x times 3x, 12x squared. 4x times negative 6, negative 24x. 2 times 3x, positive 6x. And 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Again, we're going to simplify by combining things that have the same degree. So that's just the middle ones. So we have then 12x squared minus 18x minus 12, and we got the same answer, so we're good to go. And I need to scoot this up real quick because you can't circle very easily. So again, they match up, so we did this well. Alright, next way is the distributive method. So as to kind of break up our first polynomial, or in this case a binomial. So we have 4x plus 2 was the problem we're dealing with, times 3x minus 6. So if you were to break this up with the distributive method, we would take our first term, we take 4x, and then we're going to distribute it to the binomial, the 3x minus 6, and then we're going to do the same thing for the 2, so plus 2 times 3x minus 6. So we're going to distribute 4x times 3x is 12x squared, 4x times negative 6 is going to be negative 24x. 2 times 3x is going to be positive 6x. And 2 times negative 6 is going to be negative 12. And if we simplify that, we will get the same answer. We've already done it once up here, actually twice up here, so I'm just going to leave this and just know that it simplifies to the correct answer of this. The next method is, oh, come on now, is the column method. So kind of like how we did when we were first learning multiplication. If you had something like 14 times 12, you would do 2 times 4, 2 times 1, 2, then we'd have like a placeholder here. Some of y'all may have drawn an X. I drew an X when I was learning it, or some of y'all will draw a 0, so I'm just going to leave this space blank, but then we'll do 1 times 4, which is 4, and then 1 times 1, which is 1, and then we would add and get our answer of 168. You could do the same thing with multiplying binomials or polynomials in general. It just may take a little bit of time, so let's set it up. So we got 4x plus 2, and then we're going to multiply, it's a multiplication symbol, the 3x minus 6. I'll do it one term at a time. So let's change these colors. Let's do purple, and then I'll make this one blue. Actually, I shouldn't use blue. I'll use light blue. Okay. So negative 6 times 2 is going to be negative 12. Negative 6 times 4x is going to be negative 24x. Then we're going to multiply 3x plus 2 and 3x times 4x, but we're going to line them up. So we have this placeholder here. So now 3x times 2 is going to be positive 6x. And 3x times 4x is 12x squared. You can also think of this as lining up. We want to line up our degrees, just like how we did the stack method for subtraction of polynomials in the last video, or I guess 2 videos ago, when I was going the lesson with addition and subtraction of polynomials last week. Alright, now you're going to simplify. And when you simplify this, I should have given myself some more room. So you're just going to add going down. So negative 12 plus 0 is going to be negative 12. Negative 24x plus 6x is going to be negative 18x. And then 0 plus 12x squared is going to be 12x squared. And it matches up to the same answer, so we're good to go. Alright, the last method that we're going to go over is the box method. I usually will compare that to like Punnett squares for when you were dealing with genes last year in science. So if I was to draw this out, you would give yourself your little box. In this case, it's a binomial, so it's going to be a 2 by 2 box. And if it was like a binomial times a trinomial, you would have like wherever you want to put the trinomial. If you put the trinomial here, you'll have 3 across and then 2 down for the binomial, or you can have the trinomial here and it'd be 3 down and 2 across. But it'll just vary. So again, let's write our binomials up. We got 3x and then we have -6. Bring that subtraction sign to make it a negative. This is going to be important for when we're doing factoring as well. So then you have 4x and +2. The positives you don't need to worry about having the sign because we don't usually write positives with a sign on the outside. Then you're just going to multiply. So just like a Punnett square, you would do the top of the column times the row, or the row times the column. So 4x times 3x, or 3x times 4x. This gives us 12x squared. 3x, I'm sorry. Yeah, we can go down instead. 3x times 2, so that's going to be 6x. 4x times -6 is going to be -24x. Sorry, I wrote that outside the box. And then -6 times 2 is going to be -12. And then you could just write it all out over here and simplify again. So 12x squared -24x, just going left to right and then up to down. +6x, -12. Combine them, and you still get the same answer. All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ways you can do that. Hopefully that helped with me writing this out and going over it. And then I will be back later to do the rest of these and then some practice problems to finish up the day. And then we'll have any questions that you have, just make sure you can either ask at the end or when we're doing the practice problems at least, and then the other streams I have it the rest of the week. Hope you're doing well. I miss y'all, and I will talk to you soon.